In a remote country home under renovation on a typical night, Danny Odello is made with someone trying to open the front door. The panic-stricken man with the glass eye stresses her to let him inside, offering his help, including calling the police, and though she is unsettled by the stranger on the other side of the door, she finds herself even more disturbed by his frantic insistence that there is already someone else inside who wants to harm her.
I am telling you that there is someone in there with you.
As Danny hesitantly approaches the door, we're hit with a title card. A year later, we find out that Danny had been brutally murdered that same night. Her twin sister Darcy, a blind medium who runs an antique shop, grows suspicious about what really happened, so she drops by the remote home unannounced on her brother-in-law, now widower Ted Timmis, and brings with her a terrifying family heirloom, a full-size wooden mannequin with its mouth wide open as if it was screaming in silence, with the intention of uncovering the events that took place on that night. Our focus will be on that very object embodying everything we fear about the unknown, the centerpiece of the film. This mannequin's presence is in nearly every scene, but it doesn't move, or at least we think it doesn't. As it just sits there, constantly keeping the audience on edge, the mannequin becomes more than just an ominous presence as it starts blurring the lines between reality and delusion while affecting the family dynamics, bringing out the tensions between characters that had been simmering under the surface since Danny's tragic death. The man at the door that night was Olin Boole, a psychiatric patient with a glass eye under the care of Ted Timmis, Danny's husband. Olin's behavior seems to be erratic, but his desperation to warn Danny feels genuine. And just 1 week before his scheduled release, Olin is found dead in his hospital room under violent circumstances. A year later, Danny's blind twin sister Darcy, who possesses psychometric abilities, which if you don't know, because I sure as hell didn't before making this video, means a form of extrasensory perception categorized by object reading, or being able to pick up an object and attain its history just by making physical contact with it. She begins to suspect something isn't right about what happened to both Danny and Olin. She then reconnects with Ted at her occult antique shop in Cork, where he delivers a strange object Darcy requested, Olin's glass eye. She also shows off a few cursed artifacts, including a haunted bell set to summon the dead, or worse. What Darcy does next is the true catalyst for everything that follows. She sends a disturbing family heirloom to Ted's remote home, a full-sized hand-carved wooden mannequin with a gaping, screaming mouth in the posture of something that's either in agony or bearing witness to it. That mannequin quickly became the silent observer to everything unraveling between Ted, his new girlfriend Yana, and Darcy herself. And while it never moves, you get the feeling it's always watching. The further Darcy digs, the more unexplainable things begin to happen. Yana starts seeing things, secrets bubble to the surface, and that mannequin starts showing up where it shouldn't be. Never caught in the act, but never truly still either. As the psychological tension mounts, the film dips into supernatural territory in a way that's deeply unsettling. What was once grief-fueled suspicion transforms into something darker, more vengeful, and very, very patient. This isolated slow burn horror is, in its own right, a supernatural whodunit wrapped in a psychological tension with a blend of elements from different genres that culminated into an unnerving and compelling spooky story. Though it wasn't the most unpredictable movie in the world, it didn't take away my enjoyment of the film, because what stood out to me wasn't just the story, it was the mood. From the lighting, to the sound design, to the lingering stillness of each shot, Oddity doesn't just want to scare you, it wants to sit with you after the credits roll. And in that way, it's a cozy little nightmare I keep thinking about. I think it's criminally underrated because between the limited theatrical release, almost no marketing, and being stacked against other big horror titles that year, Oddity kind of slipped under the radar, which is honestly a shame because what it delivers is something few modern horror films attempt anymore: restraint. There's no jump scare overdose here, no cartoonish ghoul leaping out of the shadows. What you get instead is a slow escalation of dread anchored by one simple, horrifying question.
What happened to your furniture, cuz?
The mannequin in Oddity is the film's most unforgettable element. A towering wooden figure carved like it was frozen mid-scream, eyes wide, an expression that never changes no matter what's happening around it. It just exists, silently, malevolently, and that somehow makes it worse.
He's just standing there, menacing. menacingly.
Director Damien McCarthy weaponizes his silence. Instead of relying on tired tropes, he lets the mannequin haunt the film through presence alone. Other similar examples of this: The Babadook, a children's book that gets more disturbing each time you open it, because denial doesn't keep monsters away, it feeds them. Another one is Diana from Lights Out. You see her standing in a dark hallway, a silhouette that only moves when the lights go out. She's always there, right where you left her. Or Mary Shaw's puppet from Dead Silence, slowly turning its head. Some puppets are stitched with revenge and built to outlive death itself. Though each of these movies has their own faults, but their own successes as well, Oddity joins this strange family of horrors where motionless things steal the scene. The mannequin becomes an active participant in the horror, a character in its own right, embodying not just grief, but the creeping paranoia that something is deeply wrong. It's a brilliant example of psychological horror done right, when it knows when to hold back, when to let the silence fester. And just when you've convinced yourself it's all in someone's head, it isn't. McCarthy builds that tension deliberately, grounding it in the character's trauma and fractured relationships. The mannequin not only stalks the living, it amplifies their guilt, their secrets, and their festering resentment. It's not just an object, it's a mirror, it's a weapon, and by the end, it's a... Nah, I'm not gonna spoil that. Go watch this movie, it's good. It's rare to find a film that understands how effective subtlety can be. That sometimes the scariest thing in the room is the one that's always been there from the start. Or in this case, a terrifying wooden figure with a screaming face of tortured agony, because that would scare the shit out of anybody no matter the time of day. If you're a fan of horror that lingers, scares that don't just make you jump but make you wonder, then Oddity is worth your time, and it is one that I definitely recommend. Till the next one, peace.